Hi everyone, it's Denise and welcome back to Dobby Books. So I'm going to change my glasses here so I can see what I'm reading. Give me just a second. Oh, much better. Okay, so before I start, let me begin by going over those books that I just finished, and then I'm going to show you the books that I've accumulated since my last visit with all of you. So the first one I did finally finish was Gene Mapper. This is a good book, and if you can get past, it took me a while to get past the technological jargon. I'm not much of an IT person, and this talks a lot about genetic engineering and stuff like that. So I had to get past that. It was a little bit slow in starting, but in the end, it turned out to be a good story. So Gene Mapper by Taiyo Fujii. And the next one I got through, I never read this classic before. The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. And what I didn't realize is this is a really short story, short novel, I should say. It's like one sitting kind of short novel. It was a good story, and an interesting thing that I didn't realize. I guess, I didn't see it on the same level as my classmates, but there were no women in this novel. Just a little girl at the beginning of the novel that's sort of incidental, like the opening scene, but not much of a major role. There's no real interaction. And then the second one is, I believe, a woman in the area. Don't forget, I don't remember her name now, but she doesn't really have a relationship, like a friendship or being a neighbor of Dr. Jekyll. Just these very small, distant sort of roles in the story, but it's predominantly just men, 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 men. So you can come to whatever conclusions to this. There are lots of different theories on this when they talk about what Mr. Hyde was doing, the wrong things he was doing in the dark of night. Oh, people have speculated it could be anything from just the general carousing, drinking, spending time with prostitutes, to perhaps a sort of clandestine life because he was a gay man, and of course in this 19th century setting, he would just have to live a sort of hidden life in that sense. So there were all kinds of theories floating around that we discussed. But it was an interesting story, something I definitely want to read again, perhaps a little more slowly, obviously without the pressure of knowing I had to finish this by a certain date in order to be ready to discuss it in class. So these two are done. Gene Mapper and The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Now, I just don't know how this happens. Those of you who like to get books, to purchase books, not many of you, I'm sure. It's if we put our books in a stack, if we separate them and don't file them on our shelves, or maybe we have a TBR section, I would imagine those books would tend to sort of disappear among everything else. And in this case, I've just stacked them on my little table next to my chair. And I looked at it last night and thought, oh, the kitty cat just jumped up on my cabinet, and I hope I don't hear anything come crashing to the ground. But anyway, I've got a stack. So, yeah, I'm watching the kitty. So, let's just go through the stack. I went today, there's some sort of small fire that was going on near the campus, so in the interest of safety, some morning classes were canceled and the remainder were on Zoom. So I spent the day not on campus, but just out, in town. I went to the local library there and I finished up an essay that I needed to submit for history and other things. And this is the library that has a little bookstore / cafe. Very dangerous. So I decided to meander before I actually sat down to finish my essay, because goodness knows how long that would take. And I found two books One, I heard about Kim from Middle of the Book March that I thought to myself, ooh, I'm going to check that out the next time I go to the bookstore. And another one is one I've heard about 4 zillion million times, including from Steve Donahue, and thought to my, and I see it so many times when I, brand new, but I think, no, I'll get it next time. But this time, because it was only, let's see, $2, I think time came. Guns, Germs, and Steel, and a paperback edition by Jared Diamond. I've heard so much about this book, and I'm so happy that I finally can add it to my collection. And then at the same place today, I found this book that Kim from Middle of the Book March mentioned, These Truths, A History of the United States by Jill Lepore. And Kim had given such a good review for it. I thought, I really, really need to get this book. And within a day or two, I was at Barnes & Noble, again, trying to work on my schoolwork. I did not want to be home alone. My husband was working in the evening, and I just didn't want to be in the house by myself. So I sat down in Barnes & Noble and was typing away and finishing up some work. And yeah, I did a little book shopping, and I checked this out. But I really didn't want to purchase it. This is the hard copy, which is $39.95, $40. And I think I did find the paperback, although I don't remember what the price was. But I thought, I will get it on my next trip. It's just what I decided. I ended up getting a couple of different other books, which I'll show you in a minute. So I didn't get the book at Barnes & Noble, but I did find it today at the little cafe used bookstore at the library for $3 hardback. So score. All right, so I got these two. And then these next two books I got because I thought I would be using them on my final project for one of my English classes. We've been studying a lot of Gothic literature, as you could tell from some of the readings that I've been doing throughout the semester and sharing with the rest of you. But I misunderstood the instructions for the final project. We're actually supposed to pull from the readings we've already had rather than another Gothic novel. So I purchased a book before I realized this. My mother had read it in Spanish, so I decided to get it in English. Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. And I was going to read this, plus provide a little bit of history of Latin American Gothic or Mexican Gothic. And Gothic is something that caught on with Latin American authors in the 20th century, and it's currently a very popular genre of Spanish-speaking readers. And I thought, well, that would be great to share that with my class, a little more about Gothic, expanding their horizons. But now, I misunderstood the assignment. So here's a book I don't really need, but I've got, so I guess I have to read it. And this was the second book I got along for the same project, to study history, a little history of Latin American Gothic, and to provide some information on a small essay that I have to write. And this is a University Press book from the University of New Mexico Press. It's entitled Gothic Imagination in Latin American Fiction and Film. And there were one or two chapters there that I thought, oh, this should be useful for my essay. I won't be needing it anyway, but here's another book that, it's a good thing. I'll just add it to my, literary criticism shelf. Okay. This other book I got is another University Press. Now, I got this because I got a notice in my email that Princeton University Press was having a sale. And there was a certain percentage off, and I thought, ooh. So I went online, and I found a book I liked, and I signed up, put myself on the mailing list, and I got a 40% off coupon. I'm going to buy, right? At that point, I'm going to buy because, as we know, University Press books are pretty pricey. So this one is The Princeton Guide to Historical Research. Now, this is something I could definitely use. It applies to my current situation. I'm also, being a history minor, I'm going to be using this. Plus, next semester, I plan to take historiography in my final semester. Why torture myself? So I don't know. And this is, what was I going? By Zachary M. Tragg. So this will be a nice reference to add to my history/reference section. And this one's for Jim from Great Books, Big Ideas. I looked on my shelves, and do you know what? I didn't have a single copy of this. So I had to go to the store. first of apparently 22 books in this series. Will I be able to get through them? I don't know. But with the stress and stuff that I've been going through and the exciting week we had last week, this is going to be a nice little tension breaker. So Redwall by Brian Jacques, and this is the first in this series. Then, I don't know if I showed you this. It's too new. I don't think I did. This is another book about history, another university press, Oxford University Press, a smaller book. It's a guide for students entitled Writing History by William Kelleher Story. This was really cool. This was really useful. Just a condensed version of, I would think, something along this line. This is just a smaller version of this. I haven't taken a really good look at both of them and compared them, so of course I don't know, but that's just going to be a guess on my part. The next one I got is another, it's another thing it's funny, I ordered this book because I had requested it through interlibrary loan 2 or 3 times from the library at the university, and it kept getting canceled. I don't know why. So finally, on that last round, I said, I had the funds. I'll just buy the book and I'll use this for my essay. And this is The Female Figure in Contemporary Historical Fiction. My capstone is about historical fiction, a topic within historical fiction. And this was going to be in great use, but now the capstone that I was doing this semester, I'm going to be moving to next semester. So if I keep the same topic, it will come in handy. I think I'll still stick with historical fiction. It just fits so perfectly with my major of English and history. So I'll read it through, and hopefully it'll help me. I really had a hard time with the capstone essay, just nailing down my thesis. Just driving me up a wall. And this I got because, like I told you guys before, I don't know a lot about poetry. It's not something I learned a lot about the mechanics of the beauty of the history of poetry. I didn't learn that because when I was going to high school in the 70s, I think there were 2 tracks. I don't think there were 3. There were 2 tracks. The one track was college prep. You got general ed adding college prep courses, but not AP. They were just more academic. And then the second one was your general ed, but vocational. So for those who weren't really planning to go to college, and that's the track that I chose. I was a little intimidated by these smart students and thought, I don't think I'm ever going to get to college, even though I continued to dream about it. So there's a lot of stuff I didn't get in high school that I've had to hobble my way through in college, and so I ended up getting this. Another university press, Oxford University Press, the poetry. This really, really is exactly what I wanted. The things that the topics that I wanted it to cover directly without going around, and I can't explain it. The other books, they didn't cover the same number of topics, and the way they would approach each topic, no, it just kind of seems secondary. It's just the best way I can explain it. And the table of contents in this Oxford University publication, in order: meter, form, layout, punctuation, lineation, rhyme, diction, syntax, history, biography, gender. Boom, 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 right to the point. And that's what I was looking for. I wanted the list of topics. Tell me about them. Give me examples. Let me work through this. So though this is going to be a good one. The Poetry Handbook by Oxford University Press by John Leonard. The next one I got, because this is an author that I so enjoyed when I was a young reader. It brought me a lot of comfort. It brought me laughter. And of course, because of the bumpy week we had last week and earlier this month, it was very hard for a lot of us. And I found myself comfort shopping and really looking for books that would bring me comfort. And this was a set. I decided to purchase a set of this author's publications, of this author's novels. and I think it's going to help me a lot. And it's called the Ramona Collection by Beverly Cleary. That was the kitty cat that just was the cat. The Ramona Collection by Beverly Cleary. I love Ramona, the little girl. I could just so relate to the characters. I really could. And the books included in this collection are Ramona and her father, Ramona the Brave, Ramona the Pest, and Beezus and Ramona. That's the one I remember most. The awkwardness, the tomboyishness. That was me. That's me as a little girl. And this just, it just brought all those warm feelings. And I thought, I'm going to read this and feel better. Okay. Next one I got. I always wanted to find the writings of Montaigne. And I would find certain writings, selected writings. Um, his writings would be amongst a collection of other essays, and I really just wanted to find a collection of his writings because every time I read them, I like what he has to say. I like how he reflects on things, but I really liked the way he wrote, how he wrote, what he wrote about. I always enjoyed his writing. So I finally found a complete collection of Montaigne's writings. Michel de Montaigne, The Complete Essays by Penguin. Look how thick this is. This is monster category, doorstop category. Something you just sort of chew over calmly, not rushed. A reflective sort of thing that would take a good long while, and that's good. This I know would be one of my readings among other readings that I'd be doing during the year. I'm excited that I finally got this. And back here is a book entitled Clandestine in Chile by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. A film director, Miguel Litin, fled Chile after a U.S.-supported military coup toppled the democratically elected socialist government of Salvador Allende. And this film director left his beloved country of Chile, and he didn't come back for another, well, let's see. He returned in 1985, so he was gone for 12 years. And he had to be sort of undercover, hence the clandestine Chile. And this records his experiences going back to Chile and part memoir, part documentary type of writing. And I wanted to read it, having studying a lot of Latin American history this year. This one, the story is about Samuel Zemurray, who purchased huge chunks of land from Honduras to build a railroad. And he sort of made an agreement, you guys aren't going to pay for anything, and I just want to, buy your land. I'm going to build some rail, so my railroads can travel through this. But what ended up happening over time is they developed I call them banana plantations, where they grew bananas and they cultivated them and shipped them out across the country. But the problem was that the people that lived in Honduras, it's their country, it's their land, and they were working for pennies a day in unsafe, terrible conditions, and it's just awful the way they were being treated. And the profits from their hard work, from their land, their country, other people were profiting from, not them. And this was sort of like the beginning of that whole ridiculous mess of other countries profiting off other countries. Such a big mess. It's just a sort of modern day colonialism type of thing. And then this one, I think I already told you about. If I did, I apologize. I'm seeing it on the pile and I put it aside. And I think I already told you about this. If I have, then I'll just skim through it really quick. By Eduardo Galeano, Open Veins of Latin America, 5 Centuries of the Pillage of a Continent. Obviously a nonfiction reading, and it's not an easy thing to read because Latin America has a pretty violent history. always a struggle for their independence, always a struggle to be treated with dignity, all throughout not just Mexico, but Central America, South America, and the mess that can be made when other countries um, interfere. So, those are all my books, people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and if I count each one of the books in the Beverly Cleary, 14, 15, 16, 17 books. I don't know if I can hold this up. Look at this. Is this ridiculous? Oh my gosh. Election years are very dangerous for book collectors, for book readers, book nerds like us. But anyways, everybody, that's all I've got. I want you to try to be happy. Enjoy those things in your life that you can control. Stay connected. Support each other. And let yourself heal. And let's get strong again. All right, everybody, I love you. Take care. Bye-bye.